All right. Move, sit down. All right, hey y'all, what's going on? Teacher Tripper Moore here. Welcome, I'm y'all GTT coach because I know people probably have some issues with figuring that whole idea out. So for those reasons alone, I'm gonna go ahead on and try my best to make sure that everybody can do what they want to do. And if that's glowing. When so, then you know that we don't have no issue with helping y'all figure those type of ideas out. So there you have it. Hi, hopefully everything is straight. All right, so let's get into it. So our experience at Nordy, you know, GTTs is short for what I like to call glow ticket topics. Glow ticket topics is what this whole entire video is about. This one in particular is going to be about our experience working at Nordy, which is Nordstrom. Okay, so actually, no misrepresentation here. So Tasia, go ahead. Oh, you getting on my nerve, girl. What did I say? Here. All right, so GTTs, when it comes to dealing with Nordy, was definitely a bit much, okay? So jobs and experiences at Nordy in particular. So the jobs that I've held usually mostly have stemmed from just on being, well, online, yeah, social media, yeah, because I have to post content, which is like a job for our subscribers and you all. So, and subscribers, I mean on Instagram, they're paid subscribers who has a monthly subscription fee. So without posting content, then there's nothing that they get to kind of sort of utilize. So I don't really care for that. So I have to create things that is kind of sort of helping them or aiding in their overall glow so that they can kind of sort of utilize what they're paying for. So that's what the whole entire point is when I say a job or something that's artistic as an outlet. So that's what I like about that too as well. And then even for here, it's kind of sort of like a job too. In order to grow the channel, we need to create. We have to be creative. And so as let's actually let y'all see it. So that's what it looks like. And you can see it looks kind of chicken scratchy because this is the middle. And as you go further back, which I'll let you see it, it looks a little more organized. You see? But it's natural. So that's what working is like. And what's weird, I had a thought in my mind, y'all. I swear to God, I know this is gonna sound so weird, but just bear with the program for a second. But I was thinking to myself, like, they gonna play this video back, not here, but just, you know what I mean, just video. They gonna play the video back, and they gonna be looking at me, myself, right? Just you know how it goes. And just like, what is you doing? You was supposed to have did this, right? Because, you know, artistic people, creatives are a little different. So we just are. That's just how, you know, the niche falls, however you call it. And they're just, you know, this one over here, whatever. And it's like, okay, yes, but the what you see may not be exactly, because where I'm at, people like to have, and I guess this may be like an analytical, the brain, and the other side, they're like, they have to exercise the different spots that are definitely whole nother lights. But the point was that, okay, you were talking about something over here. It reminds me of, again, of being at crossroadies. And so crossroadies are different options. So options that you take is about kind of sort of what somebody has for one here. And then you have the opposite of it, and which is a choice that you choose. That's where they are. And that's what working looks like. And they might interpret it a certain way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's actually what is taking place. Okay? So I want to throw that out there first and foremost for jobs. Jobs, so these are the examples of what you can see so you can understand it. And it is understand that what you're thinking and that what you see are in alignment. even when somebody may have a suggested route. That's really the secret sauce, if you will. So there you have it. Okay, so that's one in particularly speaking. Now, I'm gonna give you some examples I didn't give to nobody else as of yet. So YouTube, this one is particularly speaking is for you all. Okay, so so when I'm working at Nordy, right? We supposed to not use certain things supposed to be done how they do it, but sometimes it didn't happen that way, and people were just always not understanding that, and it was just a cause for like a thorn or something. And so when you don't do these things, they accumulate. So what you're supposed to do is do what the transaction is, and then at that particular moment you take that item, and in the moment you go and put it and process it and place it in its proper space, regardless of however many other things is happening at that moment. But nobody ever did that. And so what had happened was that I take the items and I run them down. I'll just take them up. It's like, okay, so instead of putting them into this space like we normally are kind of coached as doing, and so I just take them and walk them down to the space where they're supposed to be at. So I'm gone for like all of these amounts of time. And so this is what takes place at Nordy because nobody else is doing it. And then what got even worse, y'all, the lady who had ran the particular Nordy that I was at, and this is Beechwood, Ohio, for anybody who's curious, and where's the place is at, that's where that one was. And so instead of fixing this problem, the issue now was not to necessarily, so to speak, kind of sort of, I hate to say reprimand and tell somebody that, why are you not taking this time out? Because we see that this is not necessarily what's working, because somebody else has to go behind you. And then now that I'm down and doing all these other little things, which I didn't mind, it's not something that I'm going to complain about, because taking something that we needed to have a place in its proper spot is not a bad thing. It's really not that difficult to do. But I guess, you know what I've heard, that it's so simple that most people just won't do it. And then it's strange because sometimes you can notice that they're over here kind of congregating though, y'all. Just going like that, if you will. And it's strange. And so I'm like kind of, you know, ears up, you know, high alert, you know, what's being said instead of done. And so they built, this is how they addressed the problem. They built a new quote unquote position, okay? And there was never a single word about how, excuse me. And so the whole entire time, so you know what's strange is and I hate to call it a lack. I that word is just, it's something about how it's supposed to be something that's creative, but it stems from a spot that one created that was supposed to feel something that was not even there, and create this whole type of like I don't know, some kind of filler. You know how girls get the injections, right? And everybody's got the BBLs, or you know, they travel way across seas, and sometimes they die, don't even come back. But they butt is what you're over here for, to get the injections, or whoever was the girl that was filling them with bleach or whatever. I don't know the exact title. Y'all have to do some research. But she got kind of prosecuted or whatever for doing that type of thing, you know, with glue or something. It's kind of sort of similar to that, because you don't really address the problem, right? Like, the females are struggling with something, a self-image, their confidence levels. You see, it's the inner. You see, you know what I mean? But you know, it's done now. Like that's something that is how we kind of sort of, what they say, put a band-aid on it or something like that. You don't, and I guess you don't. I guess you don't resolve the issue by flying out or creating something when all you had to do was communicate. Deal with whatever the wounds were, and then go from there. So when there's not a form of a banter, a rapport there. A rapport is how you communicate your desires, your issues, or something that people has an issue with. When you don't choose to sit this person down and chit chat with them like a regular friend, that's when we start to do things that look so cool but are unnecessary. That's when we get into trouble. That's when we meet our maker. And necessarily, so to speak, in a more lesser stance than maybe we was able to truly may have chosen as a dream to execute in our highest ideals. So maybe now we are going to have to experience some form of a reincarnating in order to heal that wound when it wasn't even necessary to begin with. So when we are so quick to jet first out of here and not really just give ourselves a quick once over so we can understand that that is not necessarily the answer. So it's not about having the quick fixes. The quick fixes allow us momentarily to experience relief. That's really all that it does. And that's why, as an entrepreneur, it's so crucial to realize that some things are going to make or break you as a leader in your niche, in your industry. Because when you are so quick to place a band-aid, the quick fixes, the quick appearing answer for things that go on and take place within your company or organization, that's how you lose your wit. That's how you lose your audience. Yo, whatever that you think you got it going on, however, before. That's where the losses start at. It starts in our mind. It's a mental game. That's exactly where all you. And so I learned that at Nordstrom. I mean, I'm just gonna be real with you. I first originally started going there. I don't even know what I was doing. I was in the kitchen probably at our headquarters at that point in time. And I was going through whatever on the app or something like that. And I ran across whatever the opening was. It was some kind of spot for alterations inside of getting some things together for real though, y'all. And I don't think it really happened any other way. And then when I went back and forth or whatever, it was kind of okay. But I was like, something, I have to figure out how to wrap this up though. And so that's exactly what I did. And after I figured those thoughts out, it was really easy and simple to just kind of sort of like, oh, okay, well, you know, this is not necessarily something that I find interesting. This is not something that I necessarily find attractive. This is not necessarily something that I find beneficial in the long run. You're very ungrateful for some of the things and processes and kind of sort of molds that you have in place for your successes. So that's really not going to be something that help kind of sort of have your retention where it needs to be for your quarters. And it's like another quick band-aid type of scheme. And that's not necessarily what I am ultimately going to find interesting. That's just not the case. I mean, maybe for most people, you can get away with it for such an amount of time. But Tupac is really great at saying this. Eventually, you're going to show your color. Eventually, you are going to slip one day. Okay? And when you slip up and you do not address what your issues were, okay, you are going to have some problems. And some of them you may not be able to come up out of again. And so as I wrapped up this season, I was really grateful to leave it behind. Because truthfully, all I found that it was only more problems than it was rewards. And that was not ultimately what I was after. And so as I wrapped up dealing with the alterations department, based off just the skills that I had that they were looking for at that point in time. As again, I was mentioning earlier, I'm a strict creative. I love to make niches and different things that weren't there before. Everybody doesn't have that. And not out of the fact that, oh yeah, you know, they can't do something. No, but because it's a simple thing that I am aiming to see something done and I don't see it yet. So that's why I've chosen to have created whatever it was that I did. And so, not because I needed more or more plumptuous to get somebody else's hand and whatever else. All of those are outside reasons. And those are, again, that's a negative. And so when I decided finally to just go head on and do my little 1-2, I mean, I had sketches and I wish I had some pictures up from y'all or whatever else, but I mean, I could really just do really quick sketches or whatever else. And that was the moment where I was trying to figure all of these thoughts out. But they were so quick to want to use all of these different little 1-2s for whatever those reasons may have been at that point in time. I don't know if it was just to get on my last nerve. I don't know if it was just because they gotten desperate. I don't know. And so I knew for a fact, though, this was not something that I was interested in. I didn't want to tolerate it any longer. I didn't want to be bothered with it. I didn't want to be there. And so I'm not sure at that point in time as to whoever had some other problems go on. And when you have so many problems, after a while, it begins to resonate. It begins to rub off on your culture of your company. And that's not being something that's where you want to look back at in 5 years and realize, oh, I scaled this business. And everybody at the same token in time can't even stand looking at you and your company based off how much of the drama that you keep on choosing to present. That doesn't make any sense. So eventually, when I left the first time, that was something within myself that I knew once I had the moment to go ahead and act that way, that it was telling us something. There was a moment there where you can realize, yeah, this is a bit much. So let's just figure out how to wrap this up. And then we can move forward and continuously scale and flow from there. And so that's how you do that there. So if anybody was curious and you didn't know what to do about whatever else is going on in your own lives, I encourage you all to take some time out to pay attention to your signs. So when those signs are there and you are kind of sort of going to be a little heedful, it's going to pay off dividends in the end. And that's ultimately what you want. So the process is not necessarily more so about making money, because I get making money is great, but it's ultimately making sure that in the long run, you make money in places that resonates what it is that you frankly want to move forward with, because it's in harmony with how you think about things. That's ultimately what your goal is as entrepreneurs. So I just wanted to put that out there for a little bit, because I was just kind of sort of like, no, this is not working. You know, I really thought that Nordy was going to be a really cool place and a really nice space where I was going to be able to kind of sort of retire. And this particular job was not going to be something that was going to be so much so of a hindrance. But again, as you continuously scale and you grow and you learn, that's ultimately all that you really have to do. And so as I wrapped up the first season, the second season came around. And so now the second season was pulling into the driveway. Okay, so have you, so to speak. You realize now, as I was going forth and doing an interview online via, I think, HireVue it was. And so I'm doing the interviews for sales something online in the women's department. And so when I originally started to reach out, the manager was never available. They had been on vacation for the whole entire process. So it was never no one to really reach out to. So that's another sign. When someone is so engrossed in what they're doing that they are actually unaware of their surroundings and what's taking place on their team, do not move forward. Like, oh my God, stop. Immediately cease all communication, because that is not a leader. A person that is so consumed with their content, their whatever is taking place, to the point where they could care less. They are instant, they sloppy and they talkative and they chit chat and they overweight. They got a plethora of problems. They are only going to make your life miserable. I saw that they were just talking about, I think on Family Feud, I want to say, or whatever other space was, that every time you had a horrible boss, that was something that was going to contribute to something that you had going on as entrepreneur. Guess how? What is it? Negatively. So please, please, please be mindful of that. Pay attention. Pay attention. Nordy taught me nothing else to pay attention. I swear to God. That was it. So if I learned to pay attention, y'all know for a fact that you own something else too, that the first and foremost thing that you need to put your mind on is paying attention. Because There is so many times where there were people who were coming up to me and just completely unaware that I was tired. You know, you got all of this room up in here and you continuously are so unaware of your surroundings that you continuously single me out. Now I'm singled out in a corner because you won't pay attention and kind of sort of give somebody a few seconds. This is how you chose to go ahead on and conduct yourself. Then you get an attitude on top of all of that. It's impossible to remain in a space and show up every single day, day after day, years on in until retirement with this type of attitude. It's not harmonious. Only thing that's harmonious is being aware. Being aware of your surroundings, who people are speaking, what their faces is saying, and then conduct yourself in that manner so that you can really be in your flow. And when somebody is aware and they only want to disturb it, why are you going to want to spend your time there? You are not. I am telling you. Here, first, word of mouth, live. You are not going to want to be there. I'm going to share this with y'all. A recent win, eating with your enemies. Eating with your enemies means that these people that you don't like, you dislike, and it's probably mutual, okay? Because if you have any thought that somebody is against you and they're in your presence, most likely they are. And you can't really risk moving in certain circles when you know this about them. That is something that you're going to want to kind of sort of pump the brakes on. Use your brakes. Utilize your ability to do this so that way you can save your heartache and have happy thoughts. And when they make their choices, you can feel content because you didn't twist their arm, you didn't force them or yourself to behave out of character in order to let them win, or you fail, or you win and you both win, or anything. You did the best that you are able, and that's all that you can do. That's enough. That is feeling contented. People preach against discontentment, which is good. I don't think people need to feel discontented. But when you preach against finding contentment, you lose me there. And I'm going to tell you why. As an entrepreneur, you build a business to find contentment in life. People explain having businesses as something that brings them something, but it isn't what they ultimately are seeking. Then why did you build it? If you have it and it's not bringing you satisfaction, but yet you built it, why? Was it to keep up with somebody else? Then that means that your heart is off. There's something inside that has caused you to feel that way. And that's why you are feeling how you did. Not because of the business, it's you. Okay, so I just wanted to say that was a recent win. That's something that if you really want to actually find your happiness, maybe avoid being a certain way, you want to keep your life a certain way, then you know that you cannot hang out with other people who are not doing the same. It's only going to hurt you in the end. And I'll give you one more reason why. I'm going to give you a real live personal experience why. And so the personal experience, let me get a little closer for this one, is because when you really around people who want you to win, you're going to feel it. When you around people who really want you to lose, but you are like, wow, why do you really want me to be a loser? And you sincere with it, you're going to feel it. Okay? That's why they say you eating with your enemies. And a recent win is that you understand this. And you understand it. Why? Because I'm telling you. Okay. So, Nordy in particular, pay attention. Awareness. Be aware. You need to be aware. It's going to save you some heartache and some pain. Because they're not doing a job that they paid to do. If you did a job that somebody else was paid to do, be aware of that. You can make the choice and decision not to do it again because you're not getting the same pay that they getting. They getting all the ends, but ain't doing half of the work. Pay attention. Okay? All right, it's 6:20. I thank y'all for watching. Subscribe if you didn't subscribe already. I got to head over to Instagram. I've been trying to do 2 of them every Monday and Thursday. So it's going to be 6:30 now, and it starts at 6:30. It's 6:21. So I'm going to end this. I'll answer this question here about do you love God? Maybe on the next few lives. I have one other question that I've been collecting, okay? And then I'm going to answer both of them. So I'll keep you posted on when I'm going to do that. All right. Thank you. Love you. Bye. All right. I'm gone.